How's it going? Wooden Spoon Supercoach here. Scored a 13.32 last round, which I thought was pretty good, but not good enough to get green arrows, unfortunately. The rank's still looking pretty healthy, I can't complain. Team's in a decent spot, but for the first time, I actually don't know what to do with my trades this week. I've got a few different options I can do, and finding the right option that doesn't mess around with my origin availability too much is proving to be quite difficult, but we'll get into that later. Let's get into the teams list for now. For the Sharks, KL Ero has been named to make his return from hamstring injury, straight swap for Hiroti. So, time to sell Hiroti. He was a decent option for making some money, scored some decent points. I didn't go there, I wish I did, but there's another Sharks cheapie that is an option that I will mention in a second. Billy Burns, he is a 370-ish K second row forward with a very low break even. He'll be good for making some money. I can't see a reason to not bring him in. I've looked at the Sharks' injuries, and it looks like... Let's go have a look, actually. So, Teague Wilton, Toby Rudolph, they're still a while away. So, job security for Billy looks decent. So, if you need a downgrade in that position, maybe a Thomas Cant or a Lachlan Hubner would be a good swap out. And for the Eels, Geimer comes in for Kelma Tuolungi. Anyone who's still holding on to him, that's a little boost for you, but I can't imagine too many people are holding him still. Roosters Dolphins. No changes for the Roosters and for the Dolphins. Jeremy Marshall-King's back for the Dolphins, that's pretty relevant. Felice Kafusi comes back in for Daniel Safidi with a shoulder injury, and just a bit of a shuffle going on there, with O'Sullivan and Bromwich heading to the reserves, so that's not too relevant. But Jeremy Marshall-King has been a pretty good hooker for the last few years, so if you are looking to make a disgusting trade up at hooker, maybe give JMK a watch this week and see how he goes. Speaking of hooker, I might be trading Sandon Smith back in for the second time, which would mean I started with him, traded him out, traded him back in, traded him back out, traded him back in. That's 5 trades on Sandon, but he's about to make 80k this week, and Corey Pakes is losing money. I feel like I've just got to bite the bullet and do it. I've pretty much used up all the trades I've saved on Sandon, but at least I have saved those trades, so I'm not just max trading throughout the whole year so far. This Hugo Savala guy, I feel like he could be decent origin cover if the likes of Lindsay Collins, Crichton head off to origin. There'll be minutes to fill, and he does have a duel in the second row forward. I don't know how much he actually plays there for the Roosters, but something to keep an eye on there. Rabbitohs Knights. Big shuffle going on at the Rabbitohs, obviously with Latrell Mitchell suspended. Jai Gray comes in. Jack White into 5'8". Ewan Aitken to centre. Tallis Duncan starting. Hubner on the interchange bench. And then a couple of guys being reverted to the reserves, which is not super relevant. For the Knights, so Saifidi and Adam Elliott are both back, which pushes Thomas Cant to the reserves. So he's not a sell straight away. He's not going to lose cash, but he's obviously not playing, so you're going to want to look to get rid of him eventually. But if you're in the situation that I'm in, where you've got Cant and Hubner, maybe get rid of Hubner first. He's fairly likely to drop cash this week. Whereas Cant, you can just kind of hold him, and he's a nice little 400-ish K trade out when you need to. Warriors Cowboys. Straight up, Robert Derby also has a crazy negative break even. I feel like it's the time of year where you start to slightly move away from cash gen and focus a little bit more on origin availability and points. But when it comes to players who are going to make nearly 100k just by stepping on the field, it's very hard to turn that down. And the Cowboys do play 7 games over the origin period, while the rest of the comp plays 6. The Knights also play 7. Is decent cover, but they don't play that round 12 game, which is a little bit tough. So I think I might look at getting him in because it frees up a lot of money. He's going to make money. And we saw last week that he's got a pretty decent ceiling. And the Cowboys are starting to heat up, so I don't hate that. As for changes, no changes for the Warriors and no changes for the Cowboys. Nice and easy one there. Tigers Dragons. No changes for the Tigers. And for the Dragons, we've got a cheapie coming in at 7. Lachlan Ilias has been dropped. Fainu's been dropped. Corey Allen comes in from an ACL. Hamish Stewart returns from the concussion protocols at lock, with Jack DeBellin shifting to the interchange and Blake Laurie dropping back to the reserves. So that's huge for any Hamish Stewart owners. I am one, so that's great news for me. How many minutes he'll actually play from the starting position, I don't know, but you like to see a green tick instead of an orange tick. Titans Bulldogs. Wow, so David Fifita's been fully dropped. I thought he was starting to actually look fairly decent in the last couple of weeks. Granted, being away from home and all this shit going on, I haven't been watching too much footy. But people were starting to talk about Fifita, so maybe hold off on him, obviously, if he's not playing. And we see Isaac Fasu-Malawi come in with a new look bench featuring Cleese Haas and Josiah Pahulu as well. Titans have confirmed Brock Gray's season's over after tearing an ACL last weekend. That sucks. Swift recovery, bro. For the Bulldogs, so obviously Burton, Curran and Tupanua are all suspended. And we've got Bailey Hayward, Saluka Fifita, and Curtis Morin and Blake Taff coming in to the side. So I feel like the Bulldogs are going to have to do a lot here to get the job done. The Titans haven't been great, but when you're missing that many players, it is easy for the combinations to not be very good and defense to be a little bit shaky. But in saying that, the Bulldogs will be looking to bounce back after getting flogged last week. There's a bit of movement going on with Karaz at the moment. A lot of people bringing him in last week and the week before. He is a smoky for Origin. I don't really think he'll get it. But with, Zach Lomax injured, there's a chance. And with these with these suspensions to the Bulldogs, maybe hold off on bringing him in for now, unless you're desperate. Maybe with the exception of Jacob Preston, he can score pretty well, even if the team isn't doing too well. Cool, moving on to Panthers Broncos. So Garner's coming back from concussion. To'o still sidelined for another week. Summerton named at hooker. Schneider ruled out with an eye injury, so not a whole lot relevant there. To'o will be an interesting option when he does come back. But in saying that, Penrith have terrible Origin cover, and To'o is one of those guys where if he's fit, he just seems to get a Blues jersey. And for the Broncos, Jordan Ricky coming in for Pia Kura, and no other changes other than that. Storm Raiders. I'm seeing Farlongo starting there, that's exciting. So a couple of little changes here for the Storm, nothing too Supercoach relevant. So I won't go too far into that. I can't imagine anyone's looking at Farlongo or Kamakamika or Valuepu. For the Raiders, no changes. So that's fairly easy as well. So if we come over here, I've finally updated all this data. And if we filter it by Supercoach points a game, the Raiders are actually scoring the most Supercoach points per game. And they have decent Origin cover. So I'm not really sure who you would even bring in from the Raiders. Most people have Horsburgh and Nicholson already. They're not at prices you want to bring them in. In fact, they're peaking and they're probably becoming sells now. What's Tarpany worth at the moment? Maybe a Horsburgh to a Tarpany could be a good trade. I know Tarpany hasn't been setting the world alight, but normally towards the back end of the year is when he starts to click into gear. Okay, he's still 750k, so clearly I'm very wrong about everything I just said. So 200k to go from either Horse or Nicholson up to Tarpany, who is a season-long keeper. If you've got the means to do that, don't hate it. And if we look down, if we filter by Supercoach points conceded, we can see that the Titans are the number one team to target at the moment, followed by the Rabbitohs, Eels, Cowboys. So even though the Eels and the Cowboys are doing a bit better, they're still leaking a lot of points. So look to target those teams. I'm going to hold off on doing my big Origin preparation video until I'm back home, which should be my next video. Apparently, the reno should be finished today, but I haven't heard anything, so maybe a couple more days. But yeah, I've started to add in sort of good rounds to buy certain teams, good round to sell players from certain teams, and then players to consider from those teams, as well as this little planning thing down here. And I've also started to put together the draw difficulty for the run home as well. But obviously we need to get through Origin before we start thinking about that. As for the prize pool, I know that there was a little bit of money added to the prize pool this week. So Metamorphosis, yet again, Old Faithful, hit a Katoa and a Jacob Preston at anytime try scorer. So there's probably another 10 or 15 bucks added to the pool. We are definitely over 200 bucks for the prize pool now. And my next video, I will update that big graphic and everything. Sweet, that pretty much covers everything. As for captains and vice captains, you can see I've got Payne Haas as the captain there. He's just so safe with a VC on James Tedesco. But having a look at the draw, you could probably look at Hines as a VC, Tedesco as a VC, maybe even Kalen Ponga as a VC coming up against Souths, who have one of the worst Supercoach points conceded per game. And that would be a little bit of a pod move considering how shit he's been lately. Drinkwater could be an interesting VC. Then you've got, Terrell May, Gutherson, Payne Haas, and then your Pappenhausen and Munsters and stuff as captain options. But I'll be going VC Teddy and Captain Haas, because you would expect Penrith to be up for this Magic Round game, and generally when it's a tighter game, Payne Haas seems to get through a bit more work. Obviously in this game he got a couple of attacking stats, so that really boosted his score. And we know Penrith can leak points now, so maybe it could be the best of both worlds there. Sweet, that's it for this video. Next video I should be back in the apartment, and I should be able to have these videos be slightly less shitty. But yeah, good luck for Magic Round. Hopefully the turf holds up and we don't get a bunch of fucking leg injuries. And I'll see ya when I'm back at the setup. Hooroo.